Hey there, my name is Jordan. Today we're going to be learning Blackberry Blossom in the melodic style. I'll play through the tune and then we'll talk practice tips, technique tips, and even go over a few of the licks that you can check out in Tunefox. This is a great jam standard, and in this one we're going to learn to use some potatoes, which is the classic way to kick off a fiddle tune. There's lots of chord changes in the A section, and the melody kind of outlines those chord changes. And in the melodic style, when using the style to pick Blackberry Blossom, we use a lot of melodic scale patterns, and that's something that just really gets you familiar and comfortable playing this style. All right, I'm going to play through this thing slowly. Slow practice is good when you're starting out. It's good when you've been playing for a while. We can practice getting the notes super clear, focusing on things like our tone, evenness of timing, and other musical elements. All right, I'm going to play this around 50 BPM. You may need to practice it slower, and as always, sometimes it's good just to do a measure at a time when playing the whole song feels like too much. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now, normally when playing potatoes to kick off a tune in a jam, you're not going to count in. You just play the potatoes. It's only you playing those, and everyone's familiar with how long these potatoes last. It's usually, the same each time. It's either one measure or two measures, at least the way we've written it out, and then it's go time. All right, so if you're the one to actually end this tune, we're not going to end it as we have written. As we have it written, that's just how you're going to play through, like if you're going through the whole tune maybe twice, right? If you're actually ending this tune, we're going to want to end on beat 1 of the next measure, or we're going to do like a typical ending lick and end on beat 4 of the next measure. Let's say we're ending just on beat 4 of the last measure, and I'm going to play through and show you kind of how I would use body language to show someone else I was playing with that we were about to end it. And basically we're just going to leave out the last pinch. And then we're going to just hit a chord or just hit a note or something at beat 1 of the next measure. Totally a common way to end a song if you're not doing like a tag ending lick. You'll see it all the time, and as long as you use that kind of body language and you're kind of coming up a little bit and then coming down before that last note, people at jams are going to be able to follow that. Another way would be just to add kind of a common ending lick. And it's kind of similar to how Cripple Creek is played, where we come in just a little bit early and slide into that 5th fret, and then we come back with just some kind of classic Scruggs riff. But we can do ending licks in different styles. We can use Scruggs style, melodic, or single string. Check out some of the common ending licks in G on Tunefox. All right, before you jump into your practice session on this tune, I'm going to recommend that you add something else besides just the tune, and that is working on your melodic scales and your melodic scale patterns. Check out the Melodic Banjo learning path in Tunefox. There's going to be a lot of resources there, video lessons, exercises, all that stuff that's just going to get you really comfortable playing in this style. All right, I'm going to go through the song a measure at a time here. Starting with the first one, we've got our classic intro using those potatoes, aka taters. Do not ask me why they are called that. I do not know. I've just accepted it, and they're called potatoes, and it's the way to kick off a fiddle tune. We're using kind of this Scruggs style taters here on the banjo. Simple, strong, and effective. This one establishes the tempo of the song, so we don't have to count it off. And as I said, you could play short potatoes, just one measure, right, and then just launch into it, or play a longer one where you do 2 measures. And there's different variations of the taters as well, and you can check some of those out in Tunefox too. So here in measure 2, when we start with a tune, we're using this scale pattern, and we use that for the majority of the measure. And then we end it with a little G major arpeggio on our open strings. Arpeggio just means that we play chord notes one at a time. So technique tips here. When transitioning from the potatoes and up the neck here to start this scale pattern, we're going to want to do that during the open strings. So on your last run of potatoes, as soon as I got done with that slide and I hit my first open string here on the G, you can see I'm moving into position and I'm getting my fingers over the strings and the frets that they'll need to be for that first little scale pattern here. Also pay attention to the finger markings and the tablature, because there's one spot here in this scale run that we drop the thumb down to the 2nd string. Again, here in measure 2, nothing crazy different. We're just doing more scale patterns and partial kind of arpeggios over some of these chords. Just need to make sure to use a bar here for the 7th to 7th fret. It's going to make that a lot easier. There's some alternate fingering options which you could do like this, using pinky, index, and middle, but I think the bar is the most effective. And when using a bar, it's a lot easier to do that with the thumb behind the neck. You know, for a lot of banjo playing, I really like thumb over the top, but anytime we're using bars or using big stretches, thumb behind the neck, classical guitar posture is kind of the way to go. Like a lot of fiddle tunes, the 3rd phrase is the same as the 1st. So measure 4 here is the exact same as measure 2, so make sure that you use the focus feature to get measure 1 down really well, and that way you'll practice a little bit more efficiently than just going from the beginning of the tune to the end. Measure 5 here, the last measure, last phrase in the A section, that's the same or almost the same as measure 3, and then we end it with a little bit of single string work, and then a note pinch kind of punctuates the ending of this really well, just a classic way to end a section. So make sure to pay attention to the finger markings, especially for the pick hand here, because as I said, we're using some single string right here. We're going to play this thumb, index, thumb, and then the middle finger right there on the first string. Another general kind of technique or maybe even musicianship advice here, a lot of people like to do the melodic style with kind of a warmer sound, and you can do that by changing your point of attack, right? Where we pick will change how our banjo sounds, and if we pick closer to the neck, it gets a lot kind of sweeter, rounder, more mellow tone. Right? That's not to say we can't pick back here. If you like that sound, do that, and you can kind of mix it up as you go through this tune. It might be a really cool thing to play through the A section with a kind of a sweet, warm tone, and then you get to the B section and you get a little bit more kind of brassy, strong tone on the B section there. All right, here starting in the B section, we've got kind of this note pinch note thing. It gives us a really strong rhythm, and also it's hitting the melody. And then we've got a little bit of drop thumb, so we're going to drop that thumb down to the second string and then play some single string as well. Sounds really, really cool. Make sure to pay attention to those fingerings. So you could technically play this without dropping that thumb down, although you really need that single string for that second fret to open G string note. But if you do this, it's going to limit your speed at some point. So I'd recommend dropping that thumb down. It also just gets you a different sound. So try that out for sure. There in measure 7, we've got the note pinch thing again and a little bit of a scale run. And it's just kind of a typical way that a lot of players navigate this section for the melody of Blackberry Blossom. Again, like the A section, the third phrase is the same as the first here. So measure 8 is the same as measure 6. Again, another good reason to use that focus feature and make sure you get that measure 6 down really well before trying to play the whole song. Here in the last measure of the B section, we've got a little bit of a mixed scale pattern, and then we end it with kind of a descending melodic run, and then again that note pinch, just a classic way and an effective way to punctuate the end of a section. Check out those licks. There's lots of cool scrugs and melodic variations, but I can't stress enough that just learning those scales and those scale patterns along with the tune that you're learning will help so much. As I said, it'll help with that tune and it'll help with learning new tunes. So in this one we're in G major, so really knowing those G major melodic scales. But if you work on another melodic tune, say in D major, add some D major melodic scales to part of your practice routine when learning that tune. All right, remember to try to work on this thing a measure at a time, right? It's going to be a lot less overwhelming than just trying to learn the whole tune. It's also just more effective than trying to learn the whole tune top to bottom. Use your focus feature and your other Tunefox tools to help make your practice more manageable as well. After this, you may want to check out the single string version of Blackberry Blossom or the rolling backup. Learning the single string version will be good because after you learn kind of some of these phrases in the single string style, there's some licks there that are also the exact same notes in the melodic style, so it makes it a lot easier to see how we're moving around that scale. It's easier to see where the notes go up and down. Sometimes when playing, out of the melodic style, we've got a few fretted notes and an open strings, and just the up and down movement of the notes is easy to hear but hard to see. but playing the same thing single string style makes it visually a little bit easier to see. All right, that's all we got here for the melodic style version of Blackberry Blossom. I hope you all enjoyed it. Keep picking and stay tuned.